What's up guys, Garrett here with Infinite Respawn Gaming. Today we're going over some beginner tips for Beyond All Reason. Let's get to it. If I can adjust my camera here, there we go. So I've got a little map set up. It's just me versus an inactive comm over here. But first tip is placement. So placing here and this green circle. The green circle is your build area for your commander. So if we placed like right here, we'd start building this mechs. We'd have to walk. Then we start building this mechs, then we have to walk more probably, and then we start building this mechs. Versus if we place here, we can build all three of these mechs right at the start without having to move. This is a small change in how you play. It's not gonna make that big of a difference, but it does help, and the little things add up in this game. So if I was over here, I'd probably place right here, and then we can get the mechs right on the edge. So they're in our circle, and then after we get those built, we can walk over here and build this one versus being right here. We were right here. So that's probably like 1, 2, 3 seconds of time that we saved just placing in the appropriate place. But we're gonna place here and get started. So the comm again is inactive. This is kind of the build order that I like to go with on Rotato maps or random maps. If you're playing Supreme Isthmus or any map where there's a defined path for your position, it's gonna be a little different, but I like to start off with the 3 mechs. I'm not gonna walk over there. He still had the queued up orders from the other place. And then place 3 windmills. Then we go into the factory, and you want to place these all within your comm's build range so he doesn't have to spend time walking around and moving. Typically you get the 3 mechs out before your power gets down all the way, and you're able to transition to windmills pretty easily. Sometimes your power's down all the way before you get to that 3rd mechs, and if that happens, just drop a windmill, then you're good to go. So this is my typical start order here. It does depend a little bit on the wind speed. If there's no wind speed, obviously you do probably 2 solars, but I like to stick with windmills unless it's below that average wind speed, which is 5 for Armada, 6 for Cortex. Now, once we get our lab down, you typically want to get a con out and a few light bots. I just shift clicked that to queue up 5 at once. There's trees around, so we're gonna build a Lazarus or a Resbot to eat that for energy. And then with our first guy here, if you're in a small team game, you wanna throw down a radar like this, because that is gonna give us a pretty large area to see where the enemy's coming in at. A lot of players like to send off early raids. Our energy is kind of down here, so we want to continue to build windmills. And again, we're just right on the edge of our build area there. Those are still inside, so he's not gonna have to move to build those, which saves us time. And then I also like to throw down a con turret here just to get that extra build power for this. We'd probably get our Lazarus out, then get another con out, because we want to expand and take all of the other mechs around here too. But that's a little bit of the typical build order. With your light units you get out, you want to spread them out so you have LOS. As long as you got that radar up, you can see anything coming in, and if you're a little alert bot person says enemy unit sighted, make sure you zoom out, find where they're at, and then move to get in their way so they don't slip around and kill you. Next tip, with your Lazarus, in the beginning you want to eat the trees for power, but as you're pushing up, fighting, and moving forward, make sure you move him up with your units to eat metal when your units or the enemy's units die. And then also, if you build anything that's not just like light spam, heal it up with your Lazarus. They have very high repair power to keep your units alive and in the fight when you get into your first engagement. Other random tip a lot of people don't know about when they start off is that your commander has a disintegration gun or a D gun. To use it, all you do is press D on the keyboard. You have this little red line of where he's going to shoot it. You just point, click, and it will just one hit anything in its way. This does not work on other commanders, so be warned about that, and just make sure you pay attention to the explosive radius. If you D-gun a Juggernaut, it's going to do a lot of damage to your commander when it explodes, so just make sure you note that. Next tip is windmill placement and converter placement. A lot of people, when they just start out, will build giant chunks of windmills like this because it's easy and just saves you mental bandwidth from having to build in rows of 2 or 3 or something else. The reason this isn't a great idea is because inevitably someone will get a raid in They will destroy one of your windmill. They will destroy another one of your windmill. And then they'll destroy a third windmill. And it will cause a chain reaction like this and destroy your entire windmill farm. I think it even happens over here with chunks of 3. So we will destroy this one. And we see it did damage to all of its surrounding windmills. We're going to destroy a little bit farther into the block. And then we're going to destroy one last one over here. And that just chain reacts and destroys the whole thing. All you really need are 3 weakened windmill in a row, and you lose the entire cluster of windmills. So most people will build in rows of 2 like this. There is a little bit of a chain reaction effect when you do this, but it's not as drastic. You're not going to lose your whole farm when you're building like this. So we lose 2 right there. If we keep going over here, let's kill the next row, or attack the ground right here. So we lose a few more, and then they keep going. We lose a few more, but there's no chain reaction effect that would wipe out our entire chain of windmill. So rows of 2 when you're building windmill is ideal. There are some people that will build them like this. If you hold Shift, Alt, and then press Z, it will space them out automatically. I think the consensus among the community is just to build in a tight row of 2, because the space, just because of the space that's saved when you're doing it this way versus spaced out like that. Because space does become a little bit of a commodity in 8v8 games, which is what the majority of people play. Now, on to energy converters and why you should build them like this in just little chunks of 6. So we've got a massive 2 row of energy converters. We're going to attack the ground right here, hopefully, and then kill, and then it just chains all along the way. These are not like windmills. You don't need to destroy 2 or 3 to make them chain. If you destroy 1, they do enough damage to anything that's immediately next to it to erupt the whole chain. So another thing to call out is the explosion radius of things. If someone takes out your geothermal plant, are we going to do damage to it there? Very little. Can we get a little closer? There we go. So we're going to destroy our geothermal plant here and then hope that my calculation was correct. And yep, it just creates a chain reaction. So do not build your energy converters all touching. You can have a few of them touching like this just because it saves space. But if we kill one chunk here, apparently I didn't even have them spaced out enough there. But build them in chunks of 6, make sure they're spaced out, and then if one chunk dies, you don't lose the whole conversion farm. Now, kind of along with that, when you get your T1 cons to build windmills, the efficient way to do that, select your windmill, press Shift Alt, build a row of 5, let go, and then build another row down the center. That'll clear it. And then you've just got quick, easy placement of 2 rows of windmills. And with Beyond All Reason and a lot of other RTS games, one of the big things you want to focus on is freeing up your mental bandwidth. So right now we have 2 full rows of windmills being built. We don't have to focus on our eco for a while that's being done. We can go back to the front and we'd be able to micro our units and focus on this. And then another little mental bandwidth tip: if you're microing units, it's not a good time to go back to your base and micro the eco. You want to pull your units back into a nice little defensible position where you're sitting on one side, the enemy's sitting over here, nobody's pushing forward. And then you go back to your base and maybe you grab your con and say, hey, I want to build some energy converters, and take care of what you need to with the eco land, your unit production, then go back to the front and micro or focus all of your attention on the attack. It's very hard to micro effectively and micro your eco at the same time. So you want to queue up as much as you can in the back to free up mental bandwidth for the front. Now, last little tip in this video, once you get to T2, you've got your T2 mexes. We're gonna just pretend I've got all my T2 mexes here. Continuing to scale your eco is what's gonna actually win the game. You wanna balance your metal and unit production with your eco scaling. I like to just do a row of 4 constructors like this, get my first APHIS up. We have low power because I killed all the wind back here, unfortunately. But typically you would have enough wind farms to support these 4 constructors and this. You would tell them to work on your APHIS. You can go back to the front, micro your units, tell your res bots to eat the metal that you need to up at the front. Go back, check if this is done. If it's not, cool, make more units, send those to the front, and then continue microing and pushing forward. Once this is done, 1 APHIS is equal to 4, actually it's equal to 5 advanced energy converters, but I typically will do 4 just so I have a little buffer of energy. And then you can hold shift to continually add to this queue. 1, 4, 1, 4, and it'll take probably what 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes to get that done. So we've got some good eco queued up in the back while we can continue pushing forward and microing our units. Of course, once this is built and these first 4 are built and you've got, I don't know, plus 50 metal, you probably want to expand your build power with more construction turrets up here. And that'll just speed up this production. Cool, we've got eco going, we can keep pressing forward and look for our opponent, make sure we get all his stuff wiped out. There he is, cool. So, when attacking commanders, are we gonna kill him before? Cool. Make sure you're not bunched up like this. If you're bunched up like this, it's very easy for him to use his D gun and just kill all your units. You want to hold right click and drag. That will spread your units out. You can kind of encircle the commander. I think you do get bonus damage from attacking units from behind, so getting behind is good as well, or encircling them. And when they're spread out like this, very difficult to D-gun, 13 times to kill all of these, so he's essentially gonna die. But we'll press in, we'll surround him, we get the hits, and we killed him in 1. Now, again, note the explosion. If you're in team games, there is gonna be an explosion, so if you're tightly wrapped around the commander, all your units are gonna die. Something else to watch out for. But those are a few tips to get you started in Beyond All Reason. Should help you get above 10 OS. 10 OS and up is put you in like the at least the 20th percentile. Only 20% of people are below 10 OS. 80%, or wait, yeah, that math works out. 80% or above. So yeah, just some tips to get you started. If you want to come play Beyond All Reason with me and the Infinite Respawn crew, look for the link in the Discord. We do have a Beyond All Reason clan you can come hang out in, get some tips. Happy to teach new people how to play better and just have fun gaming. I think that's about it for this one. So if you learned something, hit that thumbs up button so YouTube knows we're putting out good stuff. Hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on the content we're putting out, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.